Good morning, guys. I want to talk to you for a few minutes about the end of the year. Since it's the end of the year, if we were in class together right now, we would be doing lots of review. I would be doing very little teaching. We would be reviewing, and you'd be working on Aztec a lot. I would also be trying to get you ready to take the GED for those of you that are. So we'd be doing the GED ready, which is what I want to talk to you about right now. So some of you I've reached out to you by texting you about taking the GED ready. Others, I haven't done that yet. So here's how it works. You only get one GED ready per subject forever. So for instance, if you take the GED ready this week or next week and you didn't do well and you think, oh, that's okay, I'll wait and take it like in October next year. That's fine. You can take it again, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay the $6 because the way it works is we are only able to give you one voucher per subject. And it's not like, oh, they'll forget. No, it's not us. It's the GED company, myged.com. They know that you've had a voucher and they only accept one voucher per subject. So here's what I'm talking about. If you're getting almost all of them right on the quiz and you're working hard in Aztec, you're probably one of the people that should go ahead and take the GED ready. If you get 145 or higher on the test, then I can give you a voucher for the real GED, which is normally $32 and will only charge you 16, and you could be done with math before summer or by the time summer starts, and then you only focus on your other subjects, or in some cases, that's it, you've graduated. If you think, oh, maybe I better wait, then that's fine too. If you take the test and you don't do well, that just means, like, let's say in October or November after doing a lot of classwork, that means, or the summer, I keep forgetting about the summer. Let's say like in July, you feel more confident, you can take it again. You just have to pay for it this time, and they are $6. Um, so the bottom line is it's really hard because I don't have you in front of me. I'm not seeing you every day, but I am seeing your work. And some of you I keep saying, I think you're ready. Let's give it a shot. It is a gamble because there is only one. And so, if you feel like gambling with me, let's go ahead and give it a shot. If you are not worried about paying $6 at a later date if you didn't do well, let's give it a shot. However, I'm not allowed to give a voucher to somebody that is only getting one or two or three right on the quiz. I'm not allowed. So if you're one of those people that are not getting more than half right, don't ask me for a voucher. However, you are allowed to pay for it yourself on myged.com. You're allowed to pay $6 and you can try it and see what score you get. And that's definitely an option. And a good option too, because sometimes people just need to know, how close am I? Am I really close or very far away? And so that's an option too. You could pay for it if you're not doing so well in class, and that way you can see how far you have to go. So it'd be so much easier if I could just like explain it to you personally, each one of you. But the bottom line is we're almost out of this semester. We only have a few more days. The rest of this semester, we're going to do lots of reviewing and lots of Aztec, as we would if you were sitting in front of me in the classroom. If I haven't talked to you about the MyGED, then let's evaluate. You can text me today and you can say, hey, what do you think? And I'll be honest with you. But remember, it is always a little bit of a gamble because you might be doing really good on the quizzes and you might not do as good on the MyGED Ready. You might be doing so on the quizzes and do really amazing on the MyGED Ready. But one thing about taking the MyGED Ready is it will give you an Aztec prescription. In other words, it'll say, hey, you missed questions in this section of Aztec, this section, this section. So that is good. All right. So hopefully that made sense. And if you are one of the people I've reached out to about taking it and you haven't done it yet, let's talk more today too, okay? Some of you I've given you vouchers and you haven't used them yet, so you got to use those soon. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a quick review and then turn you loose on some questions and a quiz, and I will see you back here soon. Okay, so today is Thursday, May 14th. Don't forget about summer school. I can see that a lot of you have already registered, and that is awesome. I think you're going to really, that is really going to help you either finish or make sure that you are truly ready when we come back in August. But a lot of you, I feel like, are going to just finish. So that's great. All right, here we go. Got a couple reviews. So these questions today all came from a quiz that you took either Monday or Tuesday of this week. And these were the most missed questions. So if you want to, you can pause and then do them again. Yes, you will have seen all of these because we just took these Monday and Tuesday, but you could pause and do them again. If not, just watch in case you were one of the ones that might have missed this. Some of these were a little hard for me to explain, so I just thought, let me just do the most missed. All right, so right here we have the square root of 100. So we're saying to ourselves, what times what is 100? Well, that's 10. And then we have, sorry, I'm trying to get this set. We have what times what times what? This is a 3. What times what times what gives me 8? Well, 2 times 2 times 2, that's 4, times 2, that's 8. So the answer here would be 2 divided by 5. Well, 2 will go into 10 5 times. Divided by 5, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So this was on a quiz just this week, and that's the answer. So this next one, what is the probability of picking a day of the week that does not start with S and a month of the year that does not start with J? And what's the probability at the same time? Like I said, if you want to pause it, go ahead. If you want to just do it with me, here we go. Now, one thing I want to show you is I wrote does not on the quiz in capital letters. They're not going to do that to you on the GED. They're not going to write it in capital letters, but I think they're going to give a lot of those nots to you where it's the opposite. And I have another question in a minute that was most missed that has that. So be careful, read them closely. So what's the probability of a day of the week that does not start with S? Well, we know Saturday and Sunday start with S. Okay, but remember, it does not want those days. So it wants Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So how many days is that? That's 5 days out of 7 days in a week. Now, how many months do not start with J? Well, we know that January, June, and July start with J. So that means there's 9 months out of the year, which of 12 months don't start with J. So that's what we're dealing with, and we're ready to multiply. Now, there's nothing wrong with multiplying right now. There is an option though. This right here, this fraction right here could be reduced. I can divide this by 3 and I can divide this by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So all I've done is reduce this. I still need to multiply it to this fraction, and this fraction can't be reduced. Now, there would have been nothing wrong with me multiplying straight across and getting an answer and then reducing over here. Nothing wrong with it. However, I like to deal with smaller numbers if at all possible. So I'm going to do this. 5 times 3 is 15. 7 times 4 is 28. And that is my answer because I can't reduce it. And a lot of you did get that right. About half of the class got that right, but then about half of the class missed it. So, and I think a lot of it was this word not. So be careful with that. Have you thought about where I've gotten all this paper? That's it's the old computer paper that we used to use 100 years ago. My dad used to be a principal, and at his school they were throwing these boxes of these paper away because they got modern computers and they didn't need it anymore. And he brought all those boxes home, and many years later, I still have a ton of this paper, and finally I have a use for it. So, okay, once again, if you want to stop and do this again, that would be great. If not, and I'm sorry, I thought this marker showed up better. I think it's something to do with the lighting in here right now. The ratio of men to women in ALCO math class is 2 to 3. If there are 180 women in the math class, how many men are there? Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to look at this ratio. 2 to 3. And the next thing I want to do is I want to look at what order it's in. Whatever order is here, men first. So that makes the 2 men. Women next. So that makes the 3 women. That's very important. Totally will change your answer if you don't understand that. Now, if I read further along, it says there's 180 women. So women across from women. So the 180 goes here. Now, this is my unknown. This is the men. We don't know how many men there are. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. Well, there's actually probably a couple more than 2 ways, but I'm going to show you 2 ways. The way that always works 100% of the time is to cross multiply. 3 times x is 3x. 2 times 180 is 360. Now I don't want 3x, so I divide by 3. I divide by 3. This goes away. 3 will go into 3 once. 3 will go into 6 twice, and a 0. So there's 120 women. Now, one way I could check myself is I could come over here and say 120 over 180, and then reduce it. It needs to reduce back to 2 over 3 if I'm right. So I can cross out those zeros. Now I've gotten down to 12 over 18. 12 and 18 both can be divided by 6. Guess what? That gives me 2/3. Oops, sorry. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it when the numbers are pretty. Let's see, men on top. 180. Okay, here's another way to do it. When the numbers are pretty, how do I get from this 3 to this 180? Well, 3 times 6 is 18. So if I add a 0, that means 3 times 60 is 118. So now all I need to do is do the same here. I need to take this 2 and times by 60. So 60 times 2 is 120. Either way that you want to do it, those are the 2 best ways I think to do it. All right, this one right here. 35% of ALCO students were in favor. Like I say, I've used this marker before. It usually looks better. I'm sorry. 35% of ALCO students were in favor of longer classes. If 1,200 students were surveyed, how many students were not in favor of the longer class? Okay, this of the 2 days, this was the most missed question. I think I only had one person get that right, and I wish I remembered who it was because I'd give you a shout out. So what we know is if we did this blank percent, blank of blank is, 35% goes here. Remember, this is my whole and this is the part. If 1,200 students were surveyed, so that's my whole, so that goes here. Remember, I only get to divide if I know my part. There's no number there, so I don't get to divide. So I'm going to multiply. Remember, I get rid of percent signs and move my decimal. So what I want to do is figure out what 1,200 times 0.35 is. And I have a handy dandy calculator here, so 1,200 times 0.35, and I get 420. Okay, 420 was one of the options on the quiz, and whoa, people right and left picked 420. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, now let's go back to the question. 35% of ALCO students were in favor of longer classes. If 1,200 students. So this is how many are in favor. This question says how many students are not in favor. They don't want to know how many are in favor. They want to know how many people don't want it. So we have to take the 1,200 students that we started with. We have to subtract the 420 that say, no way. Or, that say, yes, yes, we want it. This is the ones that are in favor, to find out how many say, no way, don't give me longer classes. And when I do that, I get 780. So 780 do not want longer classes. And that's the answer. And that is what they're going to do to you on the GED. The word not. Be careful. Okay, here we go. If I borrow $1,200 for 42 months at 5% interest, what will my total simple interest be at the end of the time? So remember, I was surprised how many of you guys missed this. Interest equals principal times rate times time. Principal is 12,000. Rate is 5%, but remember we always move our decimal twice. And time, I think this might be why so many people missed it. 42 months. What is 42 months? Remember, time is always year. So we have to turn 42 months into years. One way to do it is just divide by 12. You could do it that way. Another way to think about it is 1 year is 12 months, 2 years is 24, 3 years is 36, and 4 years is 48. So right here we know 3 years is 36. So if you take the 42 that we're given and we subtract the 36, which we know is 3, we get 6. Well, what is 6 months? Well, 6 months is a half a year. So now we have 3 years and a half. Well, that's fine, but easier if you're using a calculator would be to change 3.5 to 3.5. Think about it. If you have $3.50, you have $3.50. When I multiply straight across, I don't remember, 1,200, it's 12,000 times 0.05 times 3.5. I find out that I'll be paying $2,100 in simple interest. All right, here's another one that was missed. Oh my gosh, so many of you missed this one. And you thought this was an easy one. I'm sure you thought that. A group of 426 people are going to the UCF game. Each bus can take 65 people. What is the minimum number of buses needed? So here's what all of you guys did, or not all of you, but a lot of you. You said 426 and you divided it by 65, and you are right. And you got 6.5538. And you said you only need 6 buses. Okay, my friends, if you only took 6 buses, let's go back. There's 65 can fit on a bus times 6. 65 times 6 is 390. That means only 390 people can go, but wait a minute, there were 426. Remember this over here, this remainder? Well, think about it. These people won't be able to go. The remainder people won't be able to go. If you take your 426 and you subtract your 390, 36 people don't get to go. Well, I need 7 buses. Yes, I won't need every seat on the 7th bus, but if I don't have the 7th bus, I won't be able to take these. For example, this is my example. Let me see if I can find a piece. Hold on. All right. Let's say I am going to put trim down my wall. Oh, that's terrible. okay? And let's say they sell the trim in 10 feet sections. Okay, let's say my wall is 12 feet. Am I only going to buy one board? Well, if I do, my wall is going to have trim to here, and then it's going to look weird. It doesn't have anything there. Sometimes you have to buy more just to finish that little piece off. So if I were going to do this project, I'd have to buy two boards. Yes, I'd have a lot left over, but if I don't, I'm going to look really weird that I didn't finish the project. Same thing with this bus here. If you only got 6 buses, 36 people aren't going to be able to go. 7, yes, you're going to have a lot of space, but it's okay. Everybody will get to go. Okay, let me just say I get a little cranky when somebody says, yes, I saw the video. And then when I say, what's the key word? They say, I don't know. And then when they miss about 3/4 of the questions, that makes me think you really didn't watch the video. The key word today is sweet tea, my favorite. All right, here we go. These are the last of the review. These should look really familiar to you. They were from this week also. These were the most missed on order of operation. However, I've got to say most of you did really well on order of operation. I was proud of you. I think some of you might have missed this question because it was hard to see that this was a division sign when you looked at it. So if you want to press pause and redo these, that's great. If not, I'm just going to go through them. Okay, 18 divided by 9. I've got to do that first because remember, I need to do what's inside parentheses first. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. Got 3 here. I've got a multiplication sign of 7 and 11. Now I've done parentheses. Now I need to do exponents. So 2 to the third power means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So this area right here is 8. I've got 11 minus 8 times 7. Now I've done parentheses, now I've done exponents. I've got subtraction and multiplication left. It'd be really easy to say 11 minus 8 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21. But that would not